This is Christian Farmer at Choppy Trade Group. This is your end of day market recap for Monday, August 18th. Happy Monday, everybody. Let's get into the price action for the day, which was choppy. Kind of just feels like it is what it is, which is the middle of August at this point. We've got a little bit of that weaker seasonality that's happening right now. I will show you that chart in just a second, but just wanted to go through the normal rundown with you guys first. Risk disclaimer in front of you: everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving any advice or recommendations. Please read that full risk disclaimer there. But yeah, you could see for the averages today, very little movement. SPY finished flat for the day. Qs finished essentially the same. A little bit of outperformance there in the small caps and the micro caps, which was a nice little sign for the market today that things weren't that bad, with nice movement there in the small caps and micro caps finishing up about 0.5% for the day. Gold down slightly for the day. Bitcoin finished down, but a little bit off the lows, a little bit of a rally back there. I'll bring up those Bitcoin. Bring up a couple of crypto charts. Really what I'm going to do, by the way, in this video is we'll go through some, being that it's the beginning of the week, we'll go through some charts. I always put together, as I talked about in Friday's video, I put together a weekend watch list, and I put together my favorite setups that I'm looking for, and have them ready to go and actionable, depending on what the market circumstances are. We'll see how I tend to be more aggressive if I'm seeing more momentum in the market versus kind of what we're seeing right now, which is just quietness right now going on in the overall market. Sectors that led today: solar for the second day in a row. Nice follow through action. I think that group was up around 8 or 9% on Friday, tacked on another 4.6%. So nice. Speaking of momentum, nice momentum carry through there. Interesting that the crypto stocks did very well. Your RIOT blockchain, which saw a lot of call buying today, and Wolf IREN did very well today. Retail stocks did well today. They were up 1%. Oil services did well. Clean energy should be in here someplace. That also finished up 1% all the way down here. You can see not a lot of movement intraday, but did finish up 1% for the day. On the downside, the miners underperformed a bit. For example, silver miners were down. They sold off throughout the session. Communication stocks were a little bit weak too. Meta fell right on the open, then ended up coming back as it usually does. K-Web, Chinese internet names, were up about a little bit less than 1%. Again, just not a lot of big, real big movers for the day. So let's get to a couple different things that I wanted to bring up. Number one, I'm going to just to kind of go over where we are in terms of this month, in terms of seasonality, just to kind of put things in perspective here a little bit, is that we're kind of like right in here. So we've had a unusual strong start of August. August right now, the S&P is up 1.8%. The Qs are up 2.1% for the month. Small caps are outperforming; they're up 4%. So this is kind of bucking this seasonality. This seasonality trend that you see in here. But now that we had monthly options expiration, if we're following along with this, perhaps we get a little bit of weakness here in the middle of the month and stronger end of the month. Again, that is just what generally happens on average. Clearly that didn't happen in the first part of August, but just wanted to kind of show you where we are so you can kind of make a little bit of sense. And if you're wondering, geez, the market's really kind of slow, it is because a lot of people are off on vacation too. Let's get into some charts. Let me stop the screen share and I will reshare. All right, there we go. So SPY, I'm still not sharing that. There we go. Should see a chart of SPY here. So a little bit of break. I talked about this a couple times today. I talked about this in the midday note today, that we've got a little breach of the 5-day moving average here today. Again, not too much downside, but we're just kind of stalling out here. And first time that we're back below the 5-day moving average since the beginning of the month. Something that I talked about as well is that you could see that the price just didn't want to do much today. We're inside the value area for the week, and we're also below this. Should have the 200 period moving average in here someplace. Yeah, it's in there. It's this. It is the. Oh, maybe it changed here. So down here, maybe the 50-day moving average is here. Something got updated with TradingView, so something looks a little bit different on my charts. But regardless, we're inside value for the week, right? This is the value area for the week. So we're kind of, for now, just range bound. The level that I would be watching on the downside, again, I was more concerned with risk, is that 641.20. And what looks a little bit different here is the Qs. So the Qs, let's start with the daily chart again here, but a little bit further down on that 5-day moving average. So if we look right here, you're going to see here's the 5-day moving average, and this is the second candle now below. You can see I've got some dotted lines drawn here. I did this towards the end of last week, just so that you could kind of see this channel that we've been in. Right. Anything that kind of helps, just gives you a better looking picture. But we've been in this channel after the first day of the trading month, and we've been upward, but we've lost this momentum for now. So it's not to say that you can't find some winners right now, but it's a little bit more difficult because the market is we're kind of consolidating here. Now we're still in, we did hang inside the value area. So that's a good thing. We spent a portion of the day below, but we came back here, which is essentially where we started the week. So the level that I'm watching here is 561.31. And I think that'll be interesting to see if we hold. Maybe we can rally up here a little bit. And then note that we've got some resistance about 0.7 of a percentage point up here. That would not be bad. Every time I've thought we're going to break down here, in the beginning of the month, we broke the 20-day moving average. The S&P and both SPY and Qs did that. And then we rallied right back. So I'm like ready for a little bit of volatility here, but that doesn't mean that we get it here. And I'm still seeing some decent setups, seeing some things kind of turn the corner, which look pretty good. I'm going to go over that in just a second. I just forgot one thing here with the SPY chart that I just wanted to mention. I also like to look at the 5-minute chart too, just to kind of give a sense of what the value area is for the day, and whether or not we're kind of moving, we're trending above, we're basically trending for the day, or we're just chopping around. And you could see this was today's value area for the day, and we just could not really breach it until the end of the day was the best attempt, and then we just broke back below. So for whatever reason, price did not want to make it into today's value area. It kept on getting rejected here. Rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. Again at like 1:30, rejection here around 3 o'clock. There was a buy imbalance, so we got going here, but then we came right back down here. So right now, this market doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. That could change tomorrow, but for now, it is what it is. IWM, I just thought it show this chart too, because that was the outperformer for the day. Still, kind of mixed signals. We're above the value area for the month. That's good, but we did not retake the 5-day moving average. And if you look too, this is also right inside its value area for the week too. Just gonna, there you go. So resistance there is 229.70. All right, so that's what the indices are doing. Let's take a look at some stocks. I thought NVIDIA did a good job today. It kind of held in there. However, no major break. This is what we were doing here at the end of the week. NVIDIA was a little bit, was weak last week, and you've got a pretty thin value area for the week, but I would not necessarily do anything here. Buying the dip, of course, helps in this name, but in terms of if you're looking for a breakout, watch 183.16. A couple other names in this space that were acting decently. I'm going to bring up one that's probably not on your radar, but I thought it's something I've been watching because it's on my strong earnings list, is Cadence. CDNS. Notice the nice turn here. Right? That's generally what we want to see. Gap up, consolidation, giving back some of that, and then wait for the 20-day moving average to catch up, and then all of a sudden a real nice bounce. Started to turn a little bit last week, and then today made a nice move above the 5-day moving average. So I really like what Cadence is doing here. The rest of the semis are kind of they're a mixed picture. And part of that, remember, is Applied Materials reported earnings last week. Here's CRDO. Did okay today, finished up 1.7%, just not above that 5-period moving average. Another one from our watch list for the week, AEHR. We've got a nice level to watch for this one. That's 1954 for that one. So that's one that I'm keeping an eye on as well this week. And again, like I said, on the watch list. Just to go over a couple AI stocks too. TEM has been doing very well. So I'm just going to go kind of speed up here with some of these names. Very nice move here. Nice follow through, managing to stay above the 5-day moving average and trend. So, like I said, there's still nice. I mean, the stock was up 6% today. I did not own this one, but did very well. NBIS got back above its 5-period moving average after seeing a little bit of weakness towards the end of last week. Astera Labs not quite above its 5-day moving average, and I think this is fine for this name for now. I'm happy with this name consolidating a little bit. I'm going to go over the stock that I usually go over in these end of day videos. I've been impressed with this Robinhood. It was a little weak again this morning, but look at buyers step right back in and staying above the 5-day moving average. So again, even if it consolidates here a little bit, I think that that's perfectly fine. Palantir is a name that I'm kind of waiting on a little bit. I've been patient with this one, down now into the 20-day moving average. I would begin to kind of put this one maybe higher on your watch list. It's had a nice dip. I would ultimately like to see this 168 VPOC being taken out, but it certainly doesn't have to get down there. And even so, like scaling in, if this is the name that you really like, I think scaling in here a little bit makes sense, with understanding that you're okay with adding down here, because that's what I'm looking at doing at this point. But I like that this name has come in and allowing that 20-day moving average to catch up at this point. I mentioned I would go over the crypto names. I'm going to use the ETFs here. Here's the IBIT ETF. So basically back to the bottom of the range. Right, just a couple days ago, this thing, people were talking about new highs in Bitcoin. That was a pretty decent rejection there at the top of the value area, but just basically back to the bottom of the range. So if you're big believer in Bitcoin, you probably will like this dip into some support rather than chasing at the highs. I also have my eye on the Ethereum ETF. Just make sure I've got the right thing in here. Nope, I don't. There we go. The Ethereum ETF, again, sunk below the 5-day moving average after getting a little bit extended in here. The level that I'm watching here is 33.24. Notice that it came up here, kind of stalled a little bit. A couple of the solar names, very impressive for First Solar. Look at this. It hopped right over the VPOC. That's the highest this has been now in about a year. So very nice move. It does say bullish 80% rule at this point, right here. So that means that there's an 80% chance for this to go all the way to the top of the value area using value area studies. Next point that I would think that I would be watching, if it continues to show this nice momentum up here, is 239.64, and that's about 9% away. I'll stick with. Let me go back to some of the crypto names. IREN had a real nice move today. Extension above the value area. I mentioned RIOT blockchain saw a lot of calls today. These were let's bring up my watch list here. There was over 40,000 of the December strike. December 14 strike calls. Not the best looking chart here, but at least you've got some support here right around this. I think that's a 20. Sorry, my something got screwed up here. I think that is the 50-day moving average. And really the level that I'm watching here is 1244. But RIOT blockchain, also HIVE is another one that saw some option activity. This is a lower price stock. Speaking of lower price stock, by the way, love this symbol for this one. This is a more speculative AI healthcare name. It's called immunoprecise antibodies. I got long this name today. Again, great symbol, IPA, and looking for this to basically get to 293. That's the VPOC up here. But real nice movement here, and a decent call buyer right off the open today. A few other names that I was going to go through. Couple names that saw a nice turn today. Carvana, right back above the value area. This is a net. Cloudflare is a name I got long last week. I didn't add to the weakness or to the lows today, but it did get above the 5-period moving average. Also, Tesla, another name that's holding in here for now. It's staying above its August value area. Again, really didn't take back any ground today, even though it was at 1.4% today. But for now, it is holding in there and above the its value area for the month. Also, Costco, a name that I'm keeping an eye on here. I like this little pullback here, this wedge that it's got going here. Still in value. I would like this to be more outside of its value area, but still might be due for a bit of a bounce. And lastly, did I want to cover any other names? We'll cover two more names here. Open um, did close back above its value area for the month. I'm just going to gray this out so that you can see which one I'm referring to. All right, so that level to watch is 359, but like the momentum here, came back into around the 20-day moving average and got right back above. Also, AXON woke up today, right? Filled the earnings gap in here and got back above its value area for the month. So as you can see, a decent amount of setups I had in my watch lists. Geez, a bunch of names that triggered. This is our weekend watch list. My new watch list that I put together yesterday. A lot of names triggering. So so this did pretty well. And again, I added 4 names today. All those names I think I went over with you guys, but some nice movement in some of these names. So I'll leave it there for now. I think it's going sideways here a little bit. As long as we don't break down, could possibly have some names set up. I'll be watching a couple names like AppLovin, and I mentioned Palantir is a name on my watch list. Affirm is another one that I'm watching, which I highlighted in our midday note today. So I'll leave it there, guys. Have a great night. See you tomorrow.